If you were us, how do you recommend us studying?
If
Like,
I were
what
you,
techniques did you use? What do you recommend for us to use? Any?
uh-huh. So the first thing, so being in grad school is a huge learning experience, not just because of the content that you learn, but because of the way that you have to change your learning, right? So there's going to be a lot of trial and error involved, and that's to be expected, especially in your first year, right? So what I would say is know yourself, right? So be very aware of what kind of learner you are. There are people that excel with visual information. There are other people that excel with audio information. There are other people that just have to touch things and be in it, okay? And do it. And maybe you're a little bit of all three, right? So I would say the first thing is really be conscious of what is the best way that you assimilate information, okay? Once you identify that, then set up some sort of system where that can be the way that you take the information in, right? So for example, for myself, the first time I ever took this course was before medical school. The first time I ever took this course was at Mercy College as an undergrad. And when I took the course, I knew myself to be an audio learner. So I recorded every single lecture, and I would listen to the lectures while I was riding the bus, okay? Or just doing anything, really. That's one way that I took in information. The second way I take in information is I'm very much of a scribe. I like to write things out, especially with something like this where you're literally learning a whole new language. It's very important to be able to speak the language. It's very important to be able to write the language. Okay, it makes everything much easier. So I just wrote things out a lot. Okay, and everything that I would write out would essentially be everything from the lectures that I would hear, right? And I would just write it out in my own words. That's how I synthesize information, right? The next thing that I did to the extra layer on top of that, I did do flashcards, but I then learned very quickly that I find flashcards to be soul draining. I hate them, right? And I stopped using them when I got to med school and never used flashcards. But that's just me. Some people like flashcards. If that's your thing, do it, right? And if you are gonna make flashcards, I would definitely recommend to add some sort of visual component to that flashcard, right? Don't just write everything out, draw things, right? Make little diagrams for yourself. And that's bringing me to my next point, which I'm also very visual, so I like to see things drawn out for me. So I would draw things out. And one of the ways that I would do it was, did anybody get a chance to look at the PDF I sent out? No, okay. So I sent out a PDF to a small group of students that I had in my section at lab, and I asked them to send it to other people. But I guess I'll see if I can get my hands on like the class email, so I could just blast email all of you guys. But essentially, the PDF that I sent out was a book that I created that was based on how I learned anatomy. And what I would do is that I would find pictures of bones, right? And I started off by basically putting blank labels on all the bony landmarks, right? And that's how I learned the osteology. I would just look at the pictures and fill in the blanks, right? And then after that, what I started doing is that I would draw the muscles going from each of their attachment sites, right? So I would draw biceps, the short head coming from the coracoid process and showing it going to the radial tuberosity and showing the long head going through the bicipital groove, so on and so forth, right? And that, I would honestly say, was the way that I really cemented the knowledge. Like that was huge for me, right? That changed the game for me. And because at that point you have to really start asking yourself, you know, what is next to this structure? What's deep to it? What's superficial to it? I would draw muscles together, right? If there were muscles that were lined up from lateral to medial, I would draw them from lateral to medial. If there were muscles that was one deeper to the other, I would draw the deep one, then draw the superficial one on top of it. You see what I'm saying? So that I could understand these three-dimensional relationships going on, right? So I would definitely recommend doing that. So drawing things out, listening to things, flashcards if that's your thing. And honestly, what Dr. Scalia said is also huge, just being in the lab. Just being in the lab. Like, you know, like if you feel like identifying things on a cadaver is something you struggle with, make sure you're in there a good amount of time, right? Make sure you're getting a wide sample size of looking at different specimens from different bodies. And yeah, you just got to be in it to win it, honestly, at the end of the day. It's a huge amount of information, so that's why it's like, you know, it's easy to get overwhelmed. Don't let it overwhelm you. One piece at a time. You know, every single day you just pick a couple structures, master those structures for that day. Next day you move on to something else.